Hey everybody, Nate Lee here. Welcome back and welcome if you're new. I've got something really cool to show you today. This electric D-string mandolin sound that is pretty unique. Not a lot of people do it. I'll show you how. It's not that hard to do and it'll really set you apart from other players and give you something really cool to play when you need a little bit extra gas. But first, I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to play a song and I'm going to start very far from the melody, improvising with very little to do with the melody, and gradually work my way to the melody. And you can guess in the comments when you figure out what the song is. So when you figure out what your guess is, put it down in the comments with the timestamp of when you figured it out so everybody will know that you're first or second or whatever. So here we go. And then I'm going to show you some cool stuff and got a small favor to ask you here in a second too. All right, here we go. Comment below when you figure out what I'm playing. Know what it is yet? Probably all of you. It's Happy Birthday to Me. Because today's my birthday, and here's the small favor to ask you. If you are not subscribed to this channel, it would mean a lot to me if for my birthday you would subscribe to this channel. It's almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm really excited. I was actually looking at the stats, and about 60% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed. So that's a bunch of you. If you wouldn't mind clicking that subscribe button real quick, that would help me out a lot, and hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And let me know at what point in that rambling, that improvisational rambling, you figured out what I was playing. If you want to learn how to do some of that stuff too, let me know. Drop the timestamp as well in your comment, and maybe I'll work in some of those tricks into future videos. So now for what the video is actually about. It's the electric D-string sound. This is one of the cooler sounds I've ever found on the mandolin. I'm not the first to do this. I discovered it for myself, but I'm not the one that first discovered this sound by any means. But it's a really cool thing that most mandolin players just don't do. So if you learn to do this, it's really going to set you apart. So we're just going to go ahead and jump in how to do it. And for this, I will need the comically large mandolin pick. All right, so here we go, the comically large mandolin pick. What we're going to do is we're going to use what's known as an in pick angle. And if you want to learn more about this, my video, The Prime Factors of Tremolo, talks about this. And some of my other videos probably do too. Check out the playlists on this channel. I've got a lot of playlists for mandolin lessons, fiddle lessons, etc. And we're going to play with this very extreme in pick angle, meaning the tip of the pick is pointed up in this direction and your pinky is down toward the top. That is the opposite of what we would call an out pick angle here, where the tip of the pick is pointed down and the pinky is out away from the top of the mandolin. And then this is a neutral angle. But for the electric D-string sound, we need this in angle because we're going to be making a really strong sound that strikes multiple strings, and this angle does that for us. So we're going to start with that angle, and we're going to use a pick stroke much like if you were chopping. And you can watch my video about the thunder chop for more about how I do the chopping motion. But it's the same motion you would use for a chop. But we're going to be aiming for the G and D strings. Now, it may look like I'm holding down a whole chord here, and maybe it would be. Let's see. Sort of. Maybe in a horror film. Well, that was anticlimactic. I've got it muted up here. So anyway, the note that I'm actually playing here is an 8 on the D string with the ring finger. The rest of the fingers here are just muting the remaining strings. And that's because part of this sound is to get a muted D string. And also part of this sound is to not get open A and E strings in your sound. It's not, we don't want that. It's bad. So we're going to mute all of the strings and use the ring finger on the D string of the 8th fret to make our first note. And you may want to practice this at first with just a single note in a very controlled right hand like this. We're going to slide downward like that to roughly the 4th fret, but we're not looking for a perfect landing. It's just to anywhere in that area. When you slide, we're going to use less than normal, less than good technique, but in this case it's actually good technique. Instead of putting our fingers in the box shape, I have a video about this, I think it's a fiddle video, but the rules apply to both. Instead of having our finger in the box shape, we're going to let the finger lay down like this, and that's going to look like this. So it's there instead of being in the box shape like this. What that does for you is it actually diminishes the quality of the tone and gives you a little bit different tonal quality. Now when we slide downward, you don't want to be pushed all the way down, and this pad of the finger helps you with that. You can't push all the way down if you're using the pad of your finger. We'd like it to buzz a little bit, to have kind of a buzzy quality to it. And we get that by laying the finger down like this and not pushing all the way down when we slide. So you can start with that. We're going to do that on the 8th fret, the 7th fret, and the 5th fret. Then when you feel comfortable with that, we're going to mute the G string with your middle finger, mute the A and E strings. Index and pinky work great. I use the index to mute the A and the pinky to mute the E. When you mute, you need to be fully touching the string, but not pushing down, or else you're going to get some notes you don't want. Great for a horror film. Really great, but not what we want in this sound. You also can't be smack on top of a harmonic, so you have to be careful. Like here, I've got on the G string, my middle finger right on the harmonic. We don't want to do that. Flattening out the fingers can help with that as well, because it helps diminish harmonics if you happen to land on one. So now we're going to use that in pick angle I talked about, like this. We're going to come in, and we're going to hit a strong chop-like motion, aiming for the D string, but allowing our pick to hit the G string on its way there. And as you do that, slide away down the neck that way. Remember, that way is down, this way is up. So we're going to play 8, slide away. Now 7, you can use your ring finger again or your middle finger here. I think I use my middle finger more often. Then 5th fret, you can use your middle finger here as well. Sometimes, by the way, I'll bring the thumb over and mute. When do I do that? I actually showed this to someone, I think, for the first time this week in a private lesson, one of my very advanced students. And I don't think I'd shown it to anyone before. So yeah, I think I actually use my middle and my thumb a lot to mute the G string together. So feel free to do that. So our goal here is that we get a clicking sound, kind of a muted, choppy-like sound out of the G string. We get this odd little tone out of the D string, like that. And then if we hit the A and E strings, you also want that to be completely muted. But what's really making this effect is the G and the D strings. And you get this pretty robust chop sound in there, which is part of what makes it sound so cool and electric. So that's how it goes. You can hear an example of this in the song I recorded on my last album, Wings of a Jetliner, which came out in 2020. Track 2 is called Tobacco, and in my mandolin break, you can hear me do that, actually these exact frets. And I was playing my A5 on that, and I had the action set extra, a little bit extra low too, to give it a little bit buzzier sound. And it sounds even cooler. Sometimes a buzz is good. Sometimes muted sounds are good. It doesn't always have to be a bad thing just because something is an undesirable tone. So this is the technique. Check out my recording, Tobacco. There's a link down below in the description where you can go and listen to that and hear it in context and try this. Let me know what happens when you try it, where you've used it. If you have trouble with it, reach out. I'm happy to help you. And make sure to subscribe. I'm almost to that 1,000 subscribers thing, which that milestone means a lot to me. So subscribe if you would, and click that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and hit that notification bell. And if you're watching on Facebook, be sure to follow this page, like, and share. All right, everybody. See you later.